Hey guys, I'm Dakota Walker, and I run Gaia Wisdom School and also the Gaia Wisdom Mentorship. And I've been getting a lot of questions lately about spirit guides, and I thought I would put together a 3-part series on that topic alone, and just really kind of get you up to speed with who your guides are, who can and can't be your guides, and just a little bit of framework around what that looks like so that you can begin building that relationship with them. We're heading into the north direction of the medicine wheel in December 22nd, and that'll be through March. And this is a really great time to work with your guides and to really kind of harness that energy of going inward in that introspection space and really digging deep into that spiritual side of ourselves. That's the spiritual body in the north direction. And it affords us an opportunity to kind of look at our lives from the inside out, so to speak. So in this first video, I want to talk a little bit about who your guides are and who they aren't, and what that kind of looks like in the framework of who you are. And then in the second video, I'm actually going to take you out onto the, we're going to go out on the kayak and we're going to go soul tracking. And I'm going to teach you a little bit about how you can start beginning that conversation with your guides, how you can build that communication with them. And then in the third video, we're going to talk about the north direction specifically and what that means in these next 3 months, 9 weeks, 10 to 9 weeks of being in that north direction and what you can experience and to really get the most out of that direction. So first of all, who are your guides? Before you came into this lifetime, you and your guides had a collaborative effort of deciding what it was that you were to experience in this lifetime. You know, what your life theme is, what the lessons were that you needed to go through, any karma that you needed to burn off, and just kind of like that whole, the contracts, everything that kind of encompasses what you've gone through in this lifetime. And so you had this plan, you hatched this plan together as a team, and then you come into this lifetime and you're born. And the moment that you're born, you kind of set in with amnesia and you forget all of these things that happened just prior to your birth. You'll have like glimpses of it or feelings of it throughout your life. And so we spend our lives trying to navigate our way back to our soul purpose. And our guides are here to kind of help project us towards that. They're always kind of guiding us and leading us into those places where we wanted to be in order to maximize our time here. And sometimes those places are not that comfortable. You know, the truth is we learn more from being, scraped and bruised and bumped up between 2 rocks than we do being able to just sit in luxury and surrounded by a white picket fence. So because we have this amnesia, your guides, they can't really, there's only so much they can do, okay? Because part of that relationship is that you have to ask, and you have to be able to have that communication with them to know what they're saying. You know, it's like if you're going to go spend a year in Japan, in like a remote region in the northern part of Japan, you probably should learn how to speak the language that they speak, because it's going to be very hard to communicate if you're not able to speak that language. So speaking the language of your soul is how you speak to your guides. And we'll get into that here in just a moment. But so here's who your guides are. Typically, you're going to have 4 to 5 on your team who are like your mainstays. These are the ones who are with you your entire life. And then you're going to have helping spirits that come in at different times. And those helping spirits come when you are experiencing something that may be a temporary thing, or you may just need some help in different areas of your life. Or you can call in people, you can call in angels, you can call in energies, you can call on all sorts of things. So your main team, they stay with you, and they're here for the long haul. Many times you will have had many lifetimes with these guides, and sometimes you are their guide when they're incarnated. Which leads me to the next thing. Your guides will always have had human incarnations. The reason for that is because they have to be able to relate to the human experience in order to be able to help you. And so your guides, who your guides are not going to be, they're not going to be like Archangel Michael or Gabrielle. Any spirit or angel or energy that has never had an incarnation in the human form will not be your guide. They can come through as helping spirits. You can call on them, but they're not going to be your spirit guides. Your spirit guides will also not be somebody who you have had in your living, existent life. Okay, so my grandmother, for example, my grandfather, was very, very, very close to them. And they have passed on, and I have them around as helping spirits, but they are not my spirit guide. They are just my helping spirit, not just. They are my helping spirits, and I can call on them at any time I want to. The reason why they're not my spirit guide is because they were alive at the same time that I was. And so I didn't hatch out that plan with them pre-lifetime. So you see kind of the difference there? Now I do have a great-great-great-grandmother, Anna Morgan Mason, who is one of my spirit guides, and is because I never met her in this lifetime. She lived back in the 1800s, and she was very prominent in doing herbal medicine and things like that. And so that leads me to my next thing. Your guides will have kind of specific jobs. So Anna Morgan Mason, for me, helped me whenever I do holistic medicine. She is the one who helps me to do that work. I have another guide who specifically helps me when I do the teachings of shamanism, when I'm kind of doing the more of the Native American traditions and things like that, ceremony and ritual, etc. And then I have another guide who is also in my lineage, but is a druid, and that's my connection to the Celtic world. So he is here when I am immersed in that Celtic druidry type work, especially in the mentorship. He and my other guide that work with the Native American, those are my two main guides who help me kind of create the mentorship program. So you build this relationship with your guides, and you learn how to listen to them, and you learn the language of what it means when you see something, or when you hear something, or when you smell something, or you taste something. And that leads me to my next part. The way that you communicate with your guides, or the way that they communicate with you, is through your sensory system. So sight, taste, smell, touch, feeling, intuition. They talk to you through your imagination, through your creativity, through your curiosity, and through nature, and also through animals. And so all of these ways combined, you think about kind of like all the, is it left brain, where it's the creative side, or right brain is creative, left brain is analytical. So it's those parts of yourself that kind of transcends that mental body and is able to, be able to be in an environment and pluck out all the different things that are kind of speaking to you. I'll teach you when we do soul tracking, when we get on the water, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how you pull these pieces together to form a strong story. And that story is what will be the message that you're seeking. So the reason why it's so important for you to build this relationship with your guides is because when you have that clarity, when you have that relationship built, then you wander through life with a compass. You wander through life with a direction, with a plan, with the spontaneity, and also the trust. And so think of this as a great example. If you're going through a really, really hard time in your life, and you have you've kind of hit like a bottom, and you are at your wit's end, you need to talk to somebody, you need that clarity, you need to figure this out and find out what is your next best step. You're not going to call somebody you just randomly find in the phone book, or just some stranger you see off the road, and say, hey, oh, yo, hey, I'm Dakota. Can I tell you my life story? That's not how you're going to do it. What you're going to do is you're going to call a trusted friend. You're going to call somebody who you have built that relationship with, who you know can hold the space for you, who you love and who loves you. And that's who you're going to call and talk to. So it's the same thing with your guides. You have, I've met so many people who really don't know who their guides are. They've never built that relationship with them, but yet they want them to come and give them all these messages. Well, it's not, that's nice, but it's not going to happen that way. You have to build that relationship and that trust and that camaraderie and that sense of communication. Learn how they speak to you and learn what their nuances are. If I am wanting to have that deep guidance, I want to know that I'm connected to it and connected to them in a very deep way. So it's much like that. You wouldn't just call a stranger off the road or in the phone book, but you're going to call somebody that you trust, and you've built that relationship over time. And it's the same thing with your guides. You've got to build that relationship over time and put effort into it and spend time with them and talk to them and communicate and trust yourself. And that's a big part, is you have to trust yourself with the messages that you're receiving. So often we will hear the message and then we'll discount it as, oh, I'm just making that up, or that's just my imagination. Well, hello, yes, it is. And if it is, that's great, because that's your guides talking to you. If you're sitting here churning the wheels thinking, I wonder, okay, let me make sense of this, and I think my guides would say, that's not communicating with your guides. You don't want to go into that mental body and get trapped in that space. You want to be in that spontaneous moment. So when you see things, when you hear things, when you experience life, and your first impulse is, bam, this is what I get. That's what it is. It's that second thought that says, oh, but that can't mean that. I had a great shaman once. I had just... I'll try to make this is a very long story, and I'll make it very abbreviated. But the long and short of it is that I had a vision. I had a out-of-body vision when I was at an airport one time. And I saw this whole thing played out in my scene. And it was about 6 to 8 months later that scene actually came true in this form. And I was in New Mexico, and it was the first time I'd been in the desert, the American desert. And in my vision, I had seen an eagle flying above me, and that was, it was a very strong message for me. So when I am, fast forward 6, 8 months, and I'm in the desert, and I'm driving out, and these things all kind of came into place, and it was very serendipitous. And then all of a sudden, I see this eagle flying above me, and I thought, oh my God, this is like completely the vision that I had. This is everything down to the T of what I felt and saw in that vision. And then I looked up again, and I'm like, maybe that's not an eagle. Maybe it's a turkey vulture. So then, anyway, I'm fast forward another 4 months, and I'm telling the story to this shaman that I worked with for a while. And she, and I told her that. I told her, I thought it was an eagle, but then, I comes to find out it was probably a turkey vulture. And she was so mad at me. She says, stop it. How dare you say that eagle or that vulture did not transform to give you a message. He shape-shifted into an eagle so that you would get the message. But you went and ruined it. Well, she didn't really say that, but I felt like I had. But, so that's where the mental body got in the way. I looked up, I saw the eagle. That was my first thought. And that was what sank in and felt really right. And then my mental body went to that place where it says, oh no, that's a turkey vulture. And it discounted that message. So when you have that knee-jerk reaction, that knee-jerk message, you really, really want to pay attention and listen to that. And then the other stuff that comes later, where you're trying to rationalize it or make sense of it, just chuck that to the side. That's not going to be where you want to go. So you begin working with your guides, and you start building this relationship. And as you do, there's something really magical that happens. So in the beginning, And this is like how it is with any relationship. In the beginning, you're getting to know each other, and you don't really know, what their likes or dislikes are, or how they move, or what they like to eat for breakfast, and blah blah blah. Any relationship, you have this period where you are getting to know them, and then there's a place and time where you cross over that threshold where you know them so well, you wear them like a glove. You can be 1,000 miles away and you can feel them. You can just look at them and know what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what they're experiencing. You have that heartfelt connection to them that supersedes anything else. And that's how it is with your guides. You build this relationship, and it's kind of rocky in the beginning where you're just getting to know each other. They're learning how to communicate with you. You're learning how to listen to them. And then there comes this time, this threshold, where you just simply know. You just are. And you can be in communication with them at any given time. You don't have to go into a meditation to meet with them. When I'm filming these classes, when I'm doing my Coffee with Dakota sessions, when I'm teaching live, when I'm working with clients in sessions, I am constantly getting messages from all over the place. I'm getting downloads, I'm getting visuals of things that are happening in my immediate surroundings. And those are all the messages from my guides. They're like chattering to me. And some people may think that's a distraction. For me, it's a confirmation that, number one, I'm doing what I need to be doing, and two, that I'm listening. And it has made me acutely aware of just everything around me at any given time. Like right now, I'm hearing something wrestling over here in the woods, and I keep looking over at this tree, and there's like this little white mark on this tree that's kind of in a half shape of a heart. And I've got to my right over here, there's two women down here who are fishing, and I see them here every week. But today, I just happened to really notice them, whereas before I hadn't. So I take all of these, and right now I don't quite know what that means, but I know that those are three messages for me. They're three things that I can piece together into a story. And so what I really want to do now, because the sun is getting ready to kind of skyrocket down and I don't want to be out too late, is I'm going to take you kayaking. And we're going to do some, if I can stay on land, we're going to do some soul tracking. And I'm going to teach you how to be in nature and really kind of harness the messages that you're getting. And we'll go from there. So put on your PFD and get your paddle, and I got some kayaks here, and we're going to get in the water and go. All right? You ready? Let's go.